Once you've found papers that matter to your research, how do you keep track of them? Whether you're preparing a manuscript, mentoring a student, or measuring research impact, SciX lets you build personal libraries and explore citation trends and impact with ease. Let's dive into the platform to see how we can do this. For this example, I'm particularly interested about the chemistry on Mars, so I'm going to dive straight into Science Explorer. Now, if I go into the search field, and again, we're going to start with an unfielded query just to showcase the difference. If I just put in chemistry and Mars, I will probably find, yes, a huge amount of papers. It's 10,000 papers, which is far too many to wade through on a Friday afternoon with a digital highlighter. So I am going to refine this ever so slightly, and to do this I'm going to use some of our quick fields. I'm going to use the abstract field here. Now we have a couple of different fields that sound quite similar, so I could select abstract only, and that would search for the words chemistry and Mars only in the abstracts of all the papers within Science Explorer's corpus of information. However, I want to be a little bit more specific than that, and I want to create a really inclusive search. So instead, I'm actually going to select this abs search function, which searches for these words within the abstract, the title, and the keywords of papers. So I want to make sure that I'm really finding exactly what I need. So I've selected my search term and I've selected my quick field here. Now let's see if we can use this ABS function that's going to look at abstract, keyword, and title to see if we can drop down from 10,000 papers. Thank goodness we only have 256 results here. Again, this is starting to be a little bit more manageable. I'm starting to see some fascinating papers that are already piquing my interest. I mean, look at this. Photochemistry and evolution of Mars's atmosphere from the Viking perspective. How cool is that? But I really am quite curious about what is going on in this crater, for example. So let's look in terms of planetary science, whether we can find out a little bit more about the chemistry within this Jezero crater. So if I click on the planetary science category here, it's just going to re-rank the relevance of papers. And in fact, that photochemistry paper that I'm interested in has risen to the top. Now I'm going to use my smart filters here to see whether I can narrow down even further these 200 odd papers. So I've got some Martian features that I can explore here. So if I just have a look, now we've got some craters, but is there anything in Jezero? Yes, there is. So let's limit our search results to the Jezero crater. And in fact, there is just one paper here that is the thermodynamic and kinetic analysis of transitions in clay mineral chemistry on Mars. Let's click on this and see if we can find out more. Now, this looks like the kind of paper that is going to form the basis of quite an interesting search for me. But one paper does not a literature review make. Then this is where we can start to use some of our other tools. So we have a couple of things over here. For example, the similar papers button. Now, this function is going to search for papers that in kind of context and content are quite similar semantically to the paper that I'm looking at here. So if I click on similar papers, I'll hopefully be able to find a few more papers that are kind of relevant to me and to the results that I want to look at. It's a huge amount here, and I can actually, if I return to results, I can use the explore function to create a similar kind of list using the similar paper feature. So let's see whether we can do that, and this will give us a slightly better idea of what we're looking at. Okay, lots more papers to look at. We've certainly expanded from the one paper, but we have gone to 13.5 million papers. So perhaps we can refine this even further. Let's drop down again to our planetary features. Let's really focus in on any chemistry related research that has anything to do with the Jezero crater. Let's limit it to it, and we can see that we have 249 results. That is definitely a lot more exciting and a lot more manageable. Now, in another tutorial, we can show you how to create a library from this short list of papers, and you can wade through and start to determine which of these papers is more or less useful and which require further exploration. But I'm actually going to showcase another feature as well that can help you narrow down the papers that are really the most useful to you. And it is in fact called the useful function. Now, this starts to look at papers that the authors of the paper list that we've already created have cited themselves. So you can start to find the papers that have created the most foundational research around this particular field. Now, again, 6,000, nearly 7,000 results is quite a lot, but let's refine it once more so that we can get the papers just for the Jezero crater. And I'm already able to see that we've got a short list of 152 papers here. 152 papers to wade through in a library is again a lot more manageable. So if you start to create a collection of these papers, you can dive in, you can annotate them, you can determine which ones are the most useful for you. But I think what's super exciting is that this is just one example of how you can use SciX Explorer to find one paper that piques your interest and expand out from that to create a really solid foundation of a literature review from which to launch your future research.